Can you handle the truth? The truth that everything about you has been based upon a lie? This world, your beliefs, even the breath you breathe, the air, and all the existence, the educational systems, everything bent and built and created to manufacture you as a slave and to produce energy for entertainment by other means. We need to look at the hard physical evidence of what is actually going on in physical reality. We need to be able to measure by using all our senses: our mind, our eyes, our nose, our touch, our hearing, and our taste and smell. Clouds. We have the absolute presence of clouds. How are clouds made? In the beginning, did God create clouds? What are clouds? What are clouds made for? And what is the purpose of clouds? The reason why we are addressing clouds is because this is an absolute physical thing that affects you daily. Did you know that man create clouds? Another thing that you've been misinformed about is the fact that clouds dry out the air and clouds block out the sun. Clouds make the earth desolate. This is an absolute physical presence that is hidden in plain sight, yet goes unnoticed. No one understands and sees that clouds cannot be generated by the sun or any light source. The reason why there is winter is because of the generation of freon by the use of machines, and also by the joint air forces of all governments, which spray chemtrails which produce clouds. In the beginning, when the earth was first constructed, the sun would produce evaporation, which would produce moisture in the air. And when the sun passes and the night falls, dew would populate the ground, giving plenty of water and nutrition along with the sunlight to all plants. In the beginning, the earth was a complete, beautiful paradise. And if it wasn't for the interference of man, today the earth would go back to a beautiful paradise. You would see different types of fruit: bananas, oranges, apples, and all sorts of vegetation and fruits would last for a very long time. As a matter of fact, they may not even degenerate or perish when you pluck them from the tree or from the roots or the earth, because we have factors. The factors are the continual poisoning of our air, and this is done by forced control. It's not a choice, it's a forced choice. Clouds are designed by using airships and airplanes, stealth fighters, and different types of air vehicles, C-137s and all sorts of airplanes, to spray chemtrails in the air. This is done to hide the evidence of where we are and where we are located, and also to block the brain, and it serves many purposes. What chemicals are in the clouds? There are chemicals in the clouds that produce a high voltage and electricity. Now why? Why is this so? Why are they producing clouds which dry out the vegetation? Our last survey here recently in 2016, we have encompassed the entirety of the earth, and for the most part the earth is desolate. Most of the ground is brown, and vegetation is very, very limited. This is force control. He that controls your food, your air, and your water controls the population. This is a joint effort against independent farmers who do not use GMOs to produce their vegetations. In general, this is a warfare, a biological warfare. I think that the majority of people know this. It's just people are not willing to face this fact. The truth is that clouds are used to generate energy. There is an electrical magnetic charge in the air. Well, how is this possible? This is done by spraying freon, coal ash, and aluminum with barium. Barium can X-ray your body. X-rays, utilized through satellite dishes, can lower the frequency or raise the frequency of everything that is existing inside of the earth. The scientific experiment, when you try this, you will learn through science that you will get evaporation and pressure. Now, can clouds produce rain? Well, sometimes, but it is not because man is producing rain. The reason why there's rain there is because of the heavy rain particles and the accelerated heating mechanism of the sun, which produces humidity and pressure, which is benchmarked against the clouds. This pressure is a barometric pressure which is generated. The reason why this is so is because of the evaporation of water particles from our oceans, lakes, rivers, etc., the ground, and high and low elevations. And when the sun evaporates water, you have also the chemtrails. And because of this, there is a high voltage which is generated. This high voltage can be seen in extreme, intense electrical storms, which are noted and charted by various sources in high definition in real time. And that sometimes you can see the flash of the lightning bolt, which reflects from the top of the translucent material they call the firmament. People have witnessed the firmament, and because of the firmament, this thing they call the firmament, Orion's belt, or radiation belt, these are the same exact things. You're dealing with a technology which has been since the beginning of the earth. Clouds are not a natural occurring event. Clouds are not created by God. God never intended for clouds to exist. So why are they there? We have clear, hard physical evidence of chemtrail sprayings since the beginning of photographs in the early hundreds. We have evidence of this. This is why the earth was pushed down and has been pushed down in a sort of flooding type of mechanism which raises the tides and causes dynamic climate change. The reason why the dynamic climate change is there is because of the electrical charge that the aluminum and the coal ash is there, and the aluminum is there for many purposes: to block the brain and also to produce stimulated emotions which are uncontrollable and spikes in your brain and in your biology, in your body, and also to degrade the human anatomy and also to smother out vegetation and life. This is something that is charted and has been a battle in our legal law firms around the world. Farmers have been fighting the government on their GMOs and also their chemtrail sprayings, which have known to kill out vegetation as well as livestock. Clouds are there to hide the dome. Clouds are there to hide clear vision of the earth. The truth is, the earth is supposed to have perfect weather every day with a gentle breeze, roughly around 82 degrees, always sunshine, always wonderful, fruitful vegetation, always summer, never spring, never fall, never winter, always a perfect oasis in paradise. The earth, there are secrets there, but we want to focus on the truth. The truth is, you are under hypnosis. This is dreamland. Clouds are produced to help you sleep and go to sleep, to help your brain to calibrate and produce melatonin. Melatonin helps you sleep. In a sense, every organism that lives on the earth is in a sort of slumber or sleep mode. We are not at our full potential because we are not fully awake, because we have an absolute physical barrier in the form of chemtrails and in the form of man-made and generated clouds. Again, the sun, when it passes over, would generate some evaporation without pressure of humidity. And this evaporation, when the sun passes and the night falls, produces a moisture which would give plenty water all over the world. There would be no deserts and no vacant areas, and all the grass would become a living organism that's substantiated. We have not seen the full and true potential of this world. The earth is inside of a super translucent material they call the firmament. We have to go back to the real facts of the thing that affects us the most. Also, clouds are full of fluoride. What does fluoride do? Fluoride degrades our bones and our body, and it keeps us mortal. Fluoride, aka a dissolved, watered down version of fluorine, which must be used to make nuclear bombs and many type of biological warfare agents, nerve gases and things such as that. Fluoride, fluorine, aka fluorine, has to be used in pesticides and insecticides to be effective. It does something to the brain in all species, insects and humans alike, and animals, amphibians, and reptiles. Clouds are there to help you to go under hypnosis. Hypnosis is introduced through our television, our radio waves, and our educational systems around the world. Are you really willing to accept the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you? The truth is that there is more hard physical evidence that they who created you have evil intent and manifest themselves as God. Believe it or not, there is a parallel here. It is very possible that in the writings in ancient history, throughout all regions of the world and all cultures, that the good one and bad one, aka Jesus and Satan, are the absolute identical person. This may alarm you, but if you do your research and actual physical science and find out how things came to be and how the writings came to be and how things are done in actuality, as versus your beliefs, you'll find out that the actual physical truth supersedes your belief. The truth is that no man at this point on the earth has the full truth. Lies are told us, even the identity and place and location of heaven. This could be another form of hypnotism and staged events, even upon off-planet. The truth is, people are more willing to believe dialogues, written statements, animation, books, pictographs, artifacts, which are all staged, but people have failed to go outside and look and pay attention to the details. Upfront, close, clear evidence. The truth is, we are deceived. The truth is, there are a lot of lies, and let's name a few. The majority of all scriptures are built upon lies. Your idea of God, what God is, who God is, the devil, Satan, and the creation of this world, all built upon lies. Your origins have been forcibly hidden from you, and a lot of it has to do with staging the earth. This is a humongous playset, a stage by which humans have utilized technology to set up illusions. Illusions such as artifacts and ancient findings of civilizations. Yet, when you do your homework, you realize that there are lies built upon lies when it comes to civilizations. You will find civilizations, but no physical hard evidence of people living there, just these staged areas. This is to help provide the illusion and the deception to get your mind to believe that the earth is several thousands of years old, and for some they believe the earth is millions of years old. Clouds are there to generate electricity inside of your DNA. The barium gives an edge to the government to look inside of your body using radar technology, which uses energy and magnetic pulses to bounce off each other and provide a light source, which will give them an image of your skeleton and everything inside of you, including small pieces of nanoparticles of artificial fibers and machines. But beyond that, there is a technology which supersedes this. The material that the earth is made out of is a supercrystal, stronger than quartz. Yet quartz is noted by our own militaries around the world to be harder than steel. I wonder, if you combine quartz with platinum, what would you get? What type of material would this combine? Force design. How about quartz combined with diamonds and platinum and gold? What type of reinforcement would that provide? The truth is, people have failed to ask the really good questions, and they've been misled with and be given excuses, and people are very quick to make excuses for God and whoever they believe created them. If you're an atheist, you still are looking for answers, yet your mind has been closed through a system. It is forced control. For some reason, people seem to believe that you can't ask God questions, and they seem to believe that when you do, you don't get an answer. Why don't you get an answer? Maybe the fact is that you are bound inside of a world which is also known as a prison. Where is the true God? Because the God that runs this earth has done a lot of ill. We have death here. Clouds are created to help stimulate death. Clouds are generated to help stimulate a death which gives the illusion of aging. In fact, aging is an illusion. Aging really doesn't exist. Growing exists. Flourishing exists. Nothing is intended to die. Everything originally is intended to survive and substantiate forever. Can you handle the truth? The truth is, there is a technology which records everyone's motions and everyone's thought patterns with or without your acknowledgement. You don't have to have a cell phone present or a computer or any form of technology. Why? Because you are inside of a super translucent material which is hyper accelerated to interact with you on an electrical charged field through use of radio frequency. Because the supercharged material hyperaccelerates through your body and the dimensions of this internal earth. Even the fact of how dimensions exist, you are misled to understand how they exist. There are 5 dimensions. The written nanoscale writing of everything on a very small scale is writing. This is the first dimension. The second dimension is to vibrate that writing in the form of radio waves, which can be in the form of analog. This is where you get the radio waves. This is basically the second dimension. The third dimension is where you look at the animation of computer electronics and the dome. The dome is a 3-dimensional existence. It has both analog and digital. They're simultaneous. The fourth dimension is indeed the human brain, which is able to think and create new thoughts. The fourth dimension involves biological and physical elements in all existence. The fourth dimension has power over the third. The third dimension has preeminence over the second, and the second dimension has preeminence over the first. But there are some exceptions here. There is a secret that I am withholding from you about the first dimension. There is a fifth dimension. The fifth dimension defies all reality in a nutshell. The fifth dimension calibrates faster than the frequency of light. Yet all 5 dimensions interact with each other. They who exist in the fifth dimension, even if they house a fourth dimensional body, are accelerated and have preeminence over the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension have the ability to control the third dimension, the second, and the first. For example, I write a newspaper. The newspaper is being published. I take the publishing and announce it on the radio. And after that, I put it on television. And then the fourth dimension is the live person who is broadcasting the television. As you're beginning to understand, the first dimension is slightly slower than the second dimension. The second dimension is slightly slower than the third dimension. The third dimension is slightly slower than the fourth dimension. And the fourth dimension is slightly slower than the fifth dimension. Speed defines the relativity of God. We are gods to the pen and the paper. We are gods to the television and the radio. We enslave each other and we pretend to be God to one another. Yet there can be an exception when a person can get free from their bondage and fight us, because we are vibrating on the same frequency. Flesh can fight flesh. However, you can have a machine which could try to fight flesh, but in reality, the fourth dimension controls the third. Humans control televisions, radio, and the pen and paper. And in a sense, humans control each other. But who control humans? You would never see the pen and the paper get up and smack you in the face and tell you to sit down. Not in this generation and not in this realm. God forbid if the radio could stop broadcasting and tell people to stop, and people would stop. The radio has no preeminence over humans. Yet, radio waves are faster than written language. Three-dimensional offers a wide variety of uses for us. Our brains are able to seed all molecules and atoms, including the electrical signal by which the third dimension broadcasts, including the second, and if you are very fortunate, you can see the first dimension. This requires a complete clarity of your pineal gland and human body and anatomy. But at some times, through spikes of the human anatomy, we are able to see even written language. You can see how you are constructed, thus find the origin of your existence. There are 5 types of worlds. We live and interact and work with radio waves. We work with newspapers and dialogue and writings, text messaging. They are all integrated and they are all combined. So likewise is the 5th dimension. The 5th dimension is faster than the speed of light. Yet it is an absolute direct physical influence on your body. Are you ready for the truth? Can you handle the truth? If you live on the planet Earth, you are under hypnosis and you're in a sleeping trance. This is an absolute fact. From the day you are born, you are placed under hypnosis in the force system, which teach you things which are lies. After time, the brain adapts to this thinking and accepts it as reality. And what is reality? It is really hard to understand reality when you have so many distractions which keep you from the evident truth, the hard, clear evidence of where you are, how you exist, what you are, and where you come from. There is no wonder why this is hidden from your and everyone's mind and eyes, yet hidden in plain sight. Are you ready for the truth? The sun controls time. The dome controls space. I want to help you understand a little better about dimensions. There is the hard physical evidence of the first dimension, and it's sedentary. It is the structures by which everything is built. It does not change. However, if in chance by time a human or any entity has the ability to change the structures, then they are able to manipulate the realities of those things which follow afterward. But in a nutshell, the first dimension is stationary written language. The second dimension uses only sound. It doesn't have the ability to see, touch, taste, or smell. The third dimension has the ability of sight, and you can use sight to see this, and it almost looks like the fourth dimension. The only thing is that the third dimension only offers a few things. The third dimension offers sound and sight. The second dimension offers sound. The first dimension is indeed a sound wave, yet it is stationary. It doesn't change. Yet, in order to know this, one has to have sight. But the visual is one-dimensional, flat, unchanging, unmoving. Indeed, one can be placed inside of a virtual reality world, walk about, and they can interact with the three-dimensional world. You can see this. You can look at different things such as tables and balls, even other things such as animals. This is done by using holograms. What if you were to combine touch to the third dimension? If you was to add touch, then you will have taste. This would be very confusing for the human brain. This can make this thing very confusing for the human brain. But in reality, when you're in the 3D dimensional world, you usually do not have touch, only sight and sound. But remember, sound is the second dimension. So sound and sight are combined to offer the illusion of the three-dimensional world. Indeed, the three-dimensional world will only be a visual world, but because of sound, it makes it more real for us. Such as, if you was to get involved with a 3D game, would be pretty adventurous, but very boring if it did not provide sound. You can go around the table, interact, and you can see breadth, width, and height. So they are lying to you about the third dimension. The earth is not the third dimension. Why? Because we have other senses. We have the sense of smell. That sense of smell is combined with the sense of touch and taste. Now, however, if they were able to perfect and get some way to give us touch and taste in a simulated world, it may be possible to confuse the brain to make you think that it is real, much like how the earth is now. Yet this is a physical place. We are physical. We have depth and height and width and breadth. We carry sound waves, and we can produce sound waves by merely talking. We also produce sound waves by our thoughts. Our eyes are able to pick up sight. But there is something people fail to understand. We have the sense of the mind. This is where our connection is, indirectly or directly, to the fifth dimension. Yet the fifth dimension is also a physical existence. Remember, something to move as fast or faster than the speed of light calibrates at such a frequency. To a spread out place such as the earth, there is no threat. Or is there? Who is controlling who? Let's use another example. How does the dimensions work together? You have the fourth dimensional creature, which are in a football game. The real time is there. However, it's been broadcast by the television and also by the radio. Believe it or not, there is also someone there who's going to print out and make report. The people have already scored the touchdown. The people who are there have witnessed this. They are already celebrating. The television has a short delay. The anticipating people at home and the audience are waiting and waiting for the answer. Yet the answer has already been concluded. The game is over and the championship has been won by the contender who scored the last score or made the higher score. The television picks up the frequency and televised. There is a short delay. The radio picks up the frequency and televised through the radio broadcasting. Yet there is a short delay. And then the person goes to print out the information. You pick up the paper, and yet you're a day late or a little later. As you see, by example, when someone goes to read a paper, they are reading old news. When you listen to something on television that's been broadcast, although they say it's live, it's slightly delayed. And when someone tells you news over the radio, there is a delay. The variation depends on the frequency by which the broadcast televises. The government has hidden something from you. They begin to understand submersive systems, which are integrated with electronic systems. Basically, it's being able to take an electronic device and calibrate it at the frequency or higher than frequency than a physical device or physical existence, such as a human. For example, there was a movie that came out called Avatar. Have we been provided the technology that they used? The technology was so surreal that people denied reality. It looked so real, it looked more real than our actual reality. The brain accepted this as the true reality. As a result, billions of people witnessed this movie, and several hundreds and perhaps thousands committed suicide or went crazy or berserk because they began to question reality. What is going on? The megahertz, the frequency. At one time, television broadcast is at 30 megahertz, 60 megahertz, 120 megahertz, 160 megahertz, 240 megahertz. When you go past this, you begin to defy reality. Remember when you bought your first series of the PlayStation 3? What happened? Submersive systems. I bet a lot of people forgot that the PlayStation 3 produced an actual biological moisture. It began to calibrate through the dimensions. They had a physical connection. How about the liquid crystal in the 240 megahertz television? Is it possible that the digital can come out of the world and exist into the real world and substantiate? If you only knew the truth, the living machine is inside of our fourth dimension and is substantiated depending on frequency. As you see, when you combine dimensions, the frequencies can be variated and calibrated and hyperaccelerated to defy reality. I'm sure if the cell phone was a thinking mechanism, or even the computer, it would have a lot of issues with us controlling it. Yet there is absolutely nothing the machine can do. We can equip the machine to fight us and counteract us, but in a nutshell, we control our toasters, our computers, and cell phones. And we control the newspapers. But who controls us? I am withholding some information from you, but in a nutshell, I want you to understand how the dimensions work together. They all correspond simultaneously, and they touch each other physically, and are often interchanged and used together. We use the third and the second and the first dimension as tools to aid us, so forth and so on. So are we tools to aid the fifth dimensional existence? Think about it. Think for yourself. Are you able to? Or are you under hypnosis and forced control? If you don't think that you're under hypnosis, then they have achieved their goal. You are under hypnosis. If you believe that you are under hypnosis and yet you have control, then you are partially awake. This earth is a fourth dimensional existence. It is a biological place which has hard substances such as metals and irons, but there's also tissue, and there's also flesh, and there's also biodegradable things such as flowers and plants and trees. And we have all sorts of molecules and atoms. But we have to keep in mind that this world is overlaid by the three-dimensional world. How is this possible? This is made possible because we are inside of a super translucent material. Wonderfully enough, the human brain is adjusted and has calibrated itself to understand and see this. If you are able to focus your mind and look into the sky, even the digital dome that's superseding your environment, you can look on a clear day and actually see a reflection which will go into your eyes and allow you to see the molecules and the electricity which is passing through you and in everything. On certain days when the sun shines, you can see various small particles that are floating in the air. We breathe them in and out. pieces of all sorts of things, including pollution. But on certain days, when your eyes are focused, or your mind is focused rather, your third eye, which is your pineal gland, your brain can actually physically see molecules and atoms and the thing that they call the ether. And it's a motion thing. And there's two sources there. There are actually physically light sources that move around, and there's physical things that are solid, which move around also. You can see light there, and the light is stationary, and it's also moving around many times over. There is no number that we can measure this, but you can use the numbers of trillions of times upon trillions per second. There are these molecules and things which coexist with us on a simultaneously basis. Can you handle the truth? Do you understand that there is a real matrix? Of course you don't understand this, because the actual cleared, hard, physical evidence of this has been hidden from you. You have been trained, like the rest of us, to believe everything that has been taught you from the day you were born through the educational system without hard, clear, physical evidence. You say, how do I know this clear and physical evidence? By the use of your senses. One, the sense of the mind, but it has to be combined with the other senses to get a full understanding. So you have to be able to touch, taste, smell, feel, and understand this. Yes, the truth is, the world is misled, and there are nothing but lies upon lies upon lies about everything about the earth, including creation. Everyone has their story, but no one, or very few, have come with hard, clear, physical evidence. The absence of clear, hard, physical evidence is the presence of deception and dissimulation and confusion. It's one thing to say you understand something, but when you understand the mechanisms of how it works and where you can actually manipulate it and build these things from scratch, then you begin to understand the true form of how things work together and exist. Can you handle the truth? Your thinking is forced to be negative. Your food is poisoned to kill you. Your water is poisoned to kill you. Your air is poisoned to kill you. Your mind is under subjection of radio frequencies which bombard your conscious and subconscious mind to control and keep you limited and to utilize you as energy for pleasure. You are bound in the world. This is truly the matrix. And until you have absolute, clear, hard physical evidence of it, you will not believe it. And even if you do get the hard physical evidence of it, your mind may be conditioned that you don't believe it. People are more willing to believe what they've been taught than what they actually hear and see and touch in real time. All science is made clear and easy and in real time. When someone begins to speak and confusion occurs and there's a lot of dialogue where there's confusion present, this is a form of hypnosis to control you, confuse you, and put you back into retrospect of a sleep mode. The truth is, there is more evidence that humans are biological robots. But for some strange reason, we know the answer, but you need to find out the answer about the strange reason that the human brain and the body works perfectly fine with machines inside of the human body on the nanoscale. The human brain accepts gold and all sorts of metals inside of it. And why are the metals there? Because you exist as electricity as well as a biological existence with flesh and blood and water and all sorts of molecules and atoms and proteins and sugars, amino acids, etc. But why are they putting iron in everything and sugar in everything? Iron is basically to magnetize your body and to control you. Iron also blocks certain patterns of the brain. It's a binding element, flashes the DNA and the brain. In reality, the human body can regenerate itself. If there were not the influences of the degeneration and force control, when you cut someone's finger off, it would grow back immediately. Or the person's finger can be restored back into their body immediately. The human brain will reconstruct itself. Our true potential has not been observed, and no one has that in this realm. We are under pressure. Our bone and our structures are under pressure, and we are suppressed. We're a lot shorter than what we're supposed to be, and our height has been staggered, and our growth has been staggered, as well as our intelligence. Can you handle the truth? There are secret organizations which run the militaries around the entire world, a joint effort to block the sun's frequency. Why? To keep the paradise from forming on the earth. When people have flourishing in paradise, everyone has all the nutrition that they need. No need for food, no need for starving, and no need for death. Of course, death is a forced control. These sky watchers waiting with satellite dishes around the world, in every corner of the earth, in every region, every country, every state, every city, and every town. When they see the sun illuminate, they go up and spray the chemtrails to block their frequency, to provide aluminum. What does aluminum do? Aluminum blocks light, but it also amplifies and flashes and sends a charge, an electrical charge. Can this be controlled? In some senses it can, but in many senses it is out of control. Thus chaos, the chaos of the mind, chaos of the DNA, and chaos of the world. It is a jamming device, but it can be on nanoscales utilized to produce an electrical charge. The human body does in fact contain and hold methanes and electricity enough to self-combust. And at some instances, someone can shake someone's hand and knock them to their feet through an electrical current, being able to carry electricity in the human body. And the mind is extraordinary. We can be combined with chips, computer chips, very easily. We work together. Will come a day that computers and man will become one, because we are in reality. Everything you think the world would become is already. The new age is now, yet you are forced to stay in the oil age. Yet there is technology on this earth, plentiful technology, to substantiate every living organism in being. There is a crystal technology here. Sand is one of the most wonderful wonders of the world. Can change the face and value of this planet. Rid diseases and all sorts of wonderful things will manifest if we use the true resources which are provided us upon this planet. Yet we choose other resources which are more degenerating, and amazingly so, if you learn how they make aluminum and the efforts and how aluminum is made and processed, as well as quartz crystal, you will see the true picture that the world is far more technological advanced than you perceive. Text messaging, instant digital world is hand-me-down technology. There isn't technology that is instantaneous, a little less than the speed of light, which calibrates inside of this earth. It has to be a little less than the speed of light, or we will have different elements and existence escaping this earth realm and existence. Hi, I'm Roy. Can you handle the truth? Are you willing to follow the truth and abandon all your beliefs for face value? Then let's test it. Today, April the 6th, 2016. The first truth you need to understand is that everything on this planet is full of illusions and lies. Everything, including the thoughts and the patterns and the beliefs and how God is, the devil, all the realms of heavens and earth are bent upon deception to keep you in suspense and under the control of this earth. Earth is a ship. S-H-I-P. This is a machine. This machine has some sort of force field which is in the shape of a crescent or a half circle, flat at the base and round at the top. The earth, everything that exists inside of this earth dome. Some have called the solar system and getting out of this earth's realm and atmosphere the Van Allen belt, the radiation belt. Some call it the firmament. Some call it the dome. Some call it Orion's belt. Some call it crystal, the crystal city. This is a crystal city which has been corrupted by humans. Humans, there is more evidence that humans and demons are the exact same thing, which have the potential to be good or evil, entrapped inside of a ship, a super ark. Just like you hear the story of Noah's Ark, which most of these stories are hearsay and they're only folklore, but there's a lot of truth here. The earth is a ship which is suspended in the middle of a clear blue sky. Very few people and creatures are able to escape or exit the earth in their lifetime while living. I have been an exception, and I will not go into the details. How I was able to do this, I'm going back in my mind to see. I know exactly what my thought patterns were at the time that this happened. I know my location, and I do know my exit point. But then again, I do remember my entrance, and I know exactly how I came into the earth with full memory. And then my memory was slowly erased for a while, or recorded over with this forced deception. I want to let you know, if you want to know the truth, I'll give it to you. Take it for face value. The earth is a ship. This ship is responsive to our thought patterns. This ship is interactive. We live within a matrix. We are biological existence. We have a body. We are fourth dimensional creatures. We're called humans. There is a technology which is three-dimensional and is in digital and analog, both simultaneously. And also there are radio frequencies which are first dimensions. The first dimensions are actual writings on a nanoscale. The writings in my mind are in Egyptian format. They look like the hieroglyphics of Egyptian writing. And that's what I see in my mind, and I'm not going to change it. And I'm hoping someone can disprove me, but so far it is what is. On a nanoscale. This is the first dimension. There is a secret between the first dimension and the fifth dimension. There are only 5 dimensions. There only needs to be 5 dimensions. There doesn't need to be any other dimensions. You've been misled to believe that there's millions of dimensions. But when you get to the fifth dimension, something wonderful can take place. I have been to a place where I'm jumping off this boat here, and I'm just jumping onto another subject. But I've been to a place physically, and I wanted to, I knew that I was there for quite a bit of time. It was 2 Earth days, from what I can recollect, 2 Earth days that I was gone missing. This is the count of my neighbors and relatives, and this has happened more than once. But on one occasion, I was missing for 2 Earth days, and when I come back, I was drenched, wet in a location, and I brought some things with me to prove to myself that I was, and this was given to me, permitted for me to have, to prove that I was in a physical place. I've gone through my mind to rehearse to see if this was hypnosis by the secret government, and yes, they were present at the time, and I have rehearsed in my mind why they would do this. I had high interactions with superhumans. We'll call them superhumans, that look human and act human, feel and touch and seem to be human. And as far as I can understand it, they are just like you and I, except they are not tainted with this corruptible body. They have skin and flesh and bones like you and I do, but they're perfect, and they do not corrode, nor do they age. We must address the absolute physical things that are going on the planet. So let's look at some other facts. Can you handle the truth? The truth is that our minds are going rampant and crazy, and every imagination is conjuring up illusions, and we do it through dialogue, to pictographs, to illustrations, to books, and things of that sort. But for some reason, people believe what they write and what others write, and we believe in folklore, even if they are positive things, which are good and constructive. We failed to realize that we exist on other levels. We are also physical, and those entities, or if you want to say God, who created us, gave us absolute hard physical evidence where we can trace back to our origins and how we got here. Back in the time that I was inquiring in my mind again of who God was, what God is, I had the opportunity to leave the planet Earth. And at that time, there was a high interest for me personally, and I was subjected to various amounts of hypnosis, of which I will not go into right now. But in short, I was working with a secret organization above the law, above top secret, and most likely who control everything and everyone in this world. Am I saying that I was a man in black? I'm not going to deny it, but then again, I don't exist, and this is just a made-up story. But the truth is, this earth is controlled, and this earth is controlled, and you know it. Our food is poisoned. The reason why our food must be poisoned, our food, our air, and our water is poisoned on a constant. The chemtrails are to keep your mind confused. The clouds that are up in the sky are not natural. As a matter of fact, clouds existed since the earth. This is done by man spraying chemtrails to produce clouds. Clouds are not a natural occurring event. I know you've been taught otherwise, and I know that everyone has rehearsed and recoursed, but let us all together, scientists and inventors and true people who want to know the truth exercise science here and knowledge and understanding of how this occurs. Now, we have to have, I don't want to sit here and make arguments. I'm just telling you the facts. It's up to you to find out if I'm making this up or whatever you think I'm telling you. You want to know the truth? The truth is, clouds are not natural. They are hiding the dome. The dome is a ship, is a living organism, which is a ship. It's translucent. I had various contacts in this situation. I will not discuss at this present moment, but however, this is a ship. This ship is under command of, I'm not quite sure yet, but I've had the opportunity to, this is going to sound a little off, I've had the opportunity to bend time and space, although in reality that is not really possible, except from the perspective of the absolute presence of God. You see, the scientists are talking about quantum physics, and they say things change as you look at them, not from the human perspective. No human can look at things and they change and happen. That doesn't happen in reality. Only the absolute presence of the controller of the entire existence of all things which exist and non-exist. You see, there is a place I've been, and it's a wonderful place, and I want everyone there. Really. All right, let's focus our mind. Let's look at the physical evidence. If you take it, if your mind can be open, you will see that winter is created by humans. We have machines in the North Pole that keep it pretty much cold. We have different type of machines there. I've heard rumor that there are these other mountains and high elevations which house a thing we call a light that produces the sun. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know that humans are interacting with the weather. This is why we have winter. Winter exists because we spray chemtrails, and there's a cold agent there, has freon in it, and there's different type of things that you can follow in my dialogue and other recordings here of what's contained in the chemtrail sprayings, and basically will keep your pineal gland down. Every once in a while, animals and humans and other entities are able to get past this suppression, and you're being suppressed. Your mind has been suppressed, and the technology here has been suppressed, and try to patent and advance the earth and watch your patents get shot down. We're still in the oil age. This should not be. We still live in wooden houses and brick houses. This should not be. This earth has other resources, bountiful resources. A man called it thorium. This is sand. Sand can be heated and can be turned into a super powerful crystal which can withstand any tornado, and all the diseases can be refuted if man will stop spraying the chemtrails, stop poisoning their food, air, and water, and men will not age. And this is an absolute fact. It's not something made up. This is something you can find out physically. You don't need a 5-year-old education or mindset. Okay? The earth is inside a dome, and this is a super translucent material. There is hard physical evidence of that. The issue is that when it comes to this translucent dome, we've been given a program. The program says if you go too high, you're going to get radiation. If you go too low in the sea, you're going to be crushed. Your submarines are going to be crushed. If you dig, your instruments are going to break. If you dig too far, you're going to hit the Earth's crust and it's going to be too hot. Yes, indeed. In the center of the Earth are machines which melt different types of rock, molten rock, and produce lava through a pressurized system. This pressurized system also heats up water, and we have hot springs on the high elevations. No one has had the intelligence or the ability to even think this out of where is all that water coming from. Not from rain. If you look at all the whole world, that water is coming from a pumping system that pumps from the center of the earth, which is namely the North Pole. We assume that it's the North Pole, but it's the center of the earth and it's the coldest spot, and man controls that, and other men can't go there. We are not allowed to go there. We're not allowed to go to certain parts of the North Pole, and men are not allowed to go southward towards the edges to the end of the dome, where they say there's ice there. Again, you get this rumors. If you go to the outer edges of the earth, south, 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 way south to Antarctica, where it's supposed to really be, there's ice walls there. It's super cold. The conditions you can't. Again, hypnosis. Listen, I'm telling you the absolute truth. I'm extremely credible. Why am I sharing this truth? Because you are seeking the truth. And let's see if you can handle the truth. I'm telling you this. What else? So we have issues. Religions. 100% of the religions are full of deception. The only thing that matters in all realms is absolute presence of unconditional love. Nothing else is more powerful. Nothing. Do you hear me? Your practices and all your sacrifices are only feeding other humans and humans or entities which exist in the form of light. And I'm not speaking bad about all of you. You all know how I feel about this, and I'm talking to these fifth dimensional entities. And you seem to believe that I have authority, then so forth. I'm speaking it. And let's see how this machine responds to me speaking this at this moment. Yes, you are in a matrix. The fourth dimension is overlaid with a three-dimensional matrix. And your brain picks up this matrix. Now, the human brain can see atoms, and you've just been trained to not see the atoms. But if you refocus your mind, you can see atoms move and molecules. You can see the ether, or the absolute presence of God. You can hear it. This world has a resonation, and I'm one of those people who physically hear it constantly. And this technology has been tapped into by man. Man seems to run this situation, but from what perspective? There are humans outside of the planet Earth running the show. There are humans outside of the planet Earth running the show here. You believe in grays, yet you don't have, out of all the people in the world, you have not sat and had dinner, a conversation with any gray or any alien or any entity. Let's talk about dragons. Let's talk about all these things you believe exist. We are physical. Just like the cell phone in your hand or your computer there, you can touch it, you can break it down and look into the mechanisms. This is how it should be when you're dealing with any entity. But, however, there are entities that do exist. They're hidden from you, okay? So, the ship is hidden from you. Now, humans have decided to tell other humans, or to keep the secret from other people. Oh no, this is too much for them. No one can bear the real truth. We're going to have a commotion here, and where people are going to try to escape. They're going to realize that they're imprisoned inside of a ship that even the governments have been unable to get through. Now, that is my assumption at this moment, because if I've gotten through, then I can only assume that someone else have gotten through. Now maybe this is why the attention was turned toward me at one point in my life, and maybe perhaps several. And not only me, there should be others, right? I shouldn't be the only one in this world who've left physically in his lifetime while alive, living, left the earth. But everything you've been taught about aliens, lies, deception, there are humans who don't have deficiencies like we do, because we are exposed to death to kill us off. If we were not exposed to this death, we would live, substantiate. There probably would be no need for physical or biological food. The nature of animals and the creatures and the creepy things would change. The spiders would no longer need blood, the snake venom, etc. This is the truth. Understand, this is the fact. You may encounter that when they take the poison away from this earth and the radio frequencies, that animals will be able to substantiate intelligence, walk on their 2 feet just like humans, and conversate and talk like man. You probably think I'm a psycho, but like I say, the truth is the truth. Our intelligence is held down. What else? Starships, spaceships, very dangerous. Spaceships are an old technology. Flying saucers is very dangerous, and this is not how we travel. We don't need to put lights on our ships and our starships. If we are to travel outside of the dome, or let's say there's not a dome, you can travel outside of the earth through a spaceship or some type of hyper. No, it's not done like that. You're going to slam into elements unless there's nothing out there, right? That's true. That's right. You're getting it. That thing up there, the dome.
Okay.
Yes, I get it. Just got interrupted. I'm going to try to respond. Yes. I don't know what's going to be said right here.
Very certain.
I apologize for that, but I forgot about this communication I'm having. What else? What else I need to tell people? The sun. The sun and the moon are the exact same things. The stars are lights. They're all lights. The sun has an oscillating effect. It blows wind. Now, I'm having issues on how it revolves or crosses the earth and able to blow down. Is that the exit point? Is that how you get out of the dome? Through the sun, because it's the oscillating ship on top of a ship. It's like a giant fan, and with light, and the light beam is perfectly projected down onto the earth. Or the sun is an entity, a living being. Now we've had communication with the sun recently, and we've asked, I personally asked for something only mentally, and it was provided me. This was to tease me, and so our thought patterns are traced. There's evidence that our thought patterns are traced. So unfortunately, everyone, there are no secrets on this planet, which that's a good thing, really. All right, what else? The sun and the moon are the same. The weather's manipulated. When they spray chemtrails, it creates a pressurized system, which causes the earth to slam down, and this causes the water to rise and the earth to slam down like a plunger. Inside of this water, the earth is held in place inside the middle of water, and no man knows the shape of the earth. All the things you see on the map are obsolete. Now we can take composites and run across, if they didn't spray the chemtrails, we get some clear days, we could take several planes and run across the surface of the earth and try to get some sort of estimation of how the earth is shaped. And they may have this. It may be round. It's not significant, but the truth is that you've been lied to about the shape of the earth. No man can get high enough to get a picture of the earth because we are entrapped in the dome. And from what I understand, it's roughly between 7 and 10 miles. The sun is only 10 miles away. No more than that. I know it sounds like I'm making this up, but this is what I see right now. I'm willing to change this when you can give me absolute physical proof. But from what I've gotten and gathered from the physical proof, and for the time frame and the time it took us to get to this, not the sun, but the dome, which the sun glides across the dome there, and we have refraction of light. So still the science is there that the sun is on the other side of the dome. However, that has to be an opening there because it blows inside of the earth. Have you tried to make attempts to go to the sun? Because it's not too hot. The sun is not too hot. We can get there. What else? The stars are lights. The planets that you see are lights. And on the face of this dome, we can project any sort of different types of things on the face of this dome, starships and things like that, even put people on there and make you believe that there's gods up there. But this is just like the show or movie Wizard of Oz. These are illusions, and we are in dreamland, and we're forced to be under hypnosis and in these illusions. Now, I have no idea why I'm telling you all this right now, and I don't know if I'm going to allow this to go into my recording. I am making attempts to cover all this shapeshifters. Let's talk about aliens. No, this is lies. In this realm, these are all lies. And we have an issue here. Where's your protection suit? When I encountered a real extraterrestrial, this extraterrestrial had and I'm only going to describe a little bit of it, luminescent, black, metallic, magnetic suit with, it looked like the thickest crystal, but beautiful crystal. You can see clearly through it. Had breathing mechanisms inside of this crystal, and this angelic creature had complete protection from the air of this earth. No true extraterrestrial is going to be walking this earth naked. Where's your protection suit? Where's your protection? We are idiots to believe in this lie. And I want to let you know, for the record, from my mouth, believe it or not, when it comes to extraterrestrials, to starships and spaceships, I am most likely the most credible person you will hear or know or not know or ever see. Okay? So, alright, next thing here. Angels. Let's go back to aliens. Shapeshifters. This is your mind, human. Shapeshifters. We have technology there to overlay, yes, people through graphics, animation, but this is all to keep you going. This is deception. Now, obviously, I must be getting this information to give to you. What else? You want to know the truth. Oh, the earth, the lava, the volcanoes, is all man-made, or superhuman. Humans, they're all humans. And of course, these places you will not be able to get to, but there is evidence that the earth, like they say, is hollow. It's not hollow. There's evidence. There's physical evidence, hard physical evidence of activity. This is a lot like the movie The Metropolis. This is a machine. Now, what substantiates the machine? Well, outside of the earth is a paradise. There are no stars there. It's blue. There are no contamination of air. There are no clouds. There are no stars. There is no sun. It's bright there. There's a lot of places to cover there. The first place you may encounter is a crystal city. There are other lands where people can go, the tropical lands. There are no, the plants are alive. They communicate. They may not speak English, but when you touch them, you do receive information. Is telepathy. The plants are alive. That may be a part of a machine also, because I know that when you leave the planet Earth and you go to the crystal city, one particular crystal city, I know that there are no secrets. You can't hide your thoughts. Now, I'm skipping too much. There are areas where people wear white. I don't know if this is staged or if it's actually, I don't know if this is just set up, if it's just another existence and they're just making a show here by wearing white, like a shimmery white, almost looks like not a spandex, but like I don't want to say nylon. It's shiny like silk, and it's like some of them wear pants, and sometimes they wear these, they're like togas and long wardrobes, just like you've seen, but a lot better, more angelic. I haven't seen anyone draw this. No animation. I've spent many years and I haven't seen any drawings of any of the angelic creature that I've seen. I did not see angelic creatures with wings. I didn't see wings, but I did see giants. I did witness giants, and very tall. But this exists already, so people. But the angelic creature, I will not give all the secrets about. Anyway, what else? Talking about a lot of things. I'm just taking this on the fly, randomly speaking here. What I can cover. Absolute truth. You want to know the truth. The world and the earth is under hypnosis. Outside of the earth again is blue. What I'm mobile. Now, I do not recall having wings. I do recall interactions with the military and evading our air defense. We did have that. Did happen, and we had to evade them. They have technology there where they try to stop and capture machines which are able to surpass the dome. And that's all I will tell you. What else? Radio frequencies use that. Also, they use satellite dishes, which are earthbound. They're not the only satellite that circumferences the earth high enough is the sun, and the sun is the issue. The sun controls everything. The sun and the earth are lovers. And this is going to sound bizarre. The sun is the father. The earth is the mother. And everything in between are the offspring of the sun and the earth. Humans have decided to corrupt themselves, and have been encased in this dome. Outside of the earth, if you're fortunate in your lifetime and you're living flesh and body able to get out, the first thing you will notice is the clear air, the clean air, the clarity of your mind, your body. You will have no blemishes. You will have good flesh, and your bones, everything will be working together. Telepathy works really well there, and you can think your way to where you want to go, and you fly there like Superman. I know it sounds bizarre. There is a technology there that allows you to do this. This is my input. This is just my assumption, because it happened. I don't know how this works. It just, I don't know how it works. I just know how to make it work. You fly, physically fly from one place to another. Then when you get to the lands, you can, when you land down on the ground, you can interact and walk on the ground. Things do float, but things can be grounded. This is done by choice and by thought. How that's possible, I don't know exactly. That's not. I may have the answers, but I'm not saying. In the crystal cities, a lot of the places are open. There's a lot of crystal. These translucent. There's gold there, and there's crystal. There's all sorts of stones, and you can interact, and you can have
pleasure there and fun. And you can stay there. People can talk with their mouths or use telepathy to interact. In the Crystal City, most people use their mouths to talk. It's just like the planet Earth. There's no war there. There's complete peace there. I'm not making this up. This is true. I don't remember anybody with any weapons. People wore white. I don't know what the deal about the white. What is that all about? I'm really trying to go back and recall. I was to go to a council, and my meeting was in reference to the Earth, and my debate. I wasn't argument, but my debate was our conference. I shouldn't say debate. Our conference was that humans. My conference was that humans are real, and several of those humans there who are on the council disagreed with me in a good sense. It was very productive, and the discussion was to come back to the Earth, and that was after a fact of another situation, and I want to talk about that situation. There's a place, and all I can tell you is this is going to sound a little bit rhetoric, and it could be hypnosis, but I doubt it. There is a way to get to a place that you may believe to be heaven. Unfortunately, a lot of stuff been told about heaven are lies. There are not a lot of people there for whatever reason. I don't know if this is staged, and my personal belief that this is not staged. There is a reason why there's not a lot of humans there. There are only, from my recollection, there's only one human there, about my height, maybe possibly a little taller, and this entity has white hair. This entity has amber-like eyes, from my recollection. Now, my brain's been washed a little bit, and I keep thinking they had white eyes, and they were a little shiny and luminescent. I believe their skin they looked a lot like an Indonesian, but very, very fair looking, very peaceful, and this person can speak to you, but you are both going to interact and speak English. Now, there is a place there. It's a white, completely white. It's a place, a library. This is known to be the book of records of everything that you can possibly imagine. Now, as you ask questions, verbally or mentally, this machine interacts with you and gives you the answers. But before you can even approach this machine, you can't get to this city without being scanned first. You have to be scanned, and you have to pass. Okay. And yeah, I took a little break. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to share this data. What other truths do you need to know? Who runs the planet? Yeah, let's ask some of the hard questions. Let's ask some of the hard questions, and I will give you some answers. Who runs the planet? Who runs the planet Earth? A group of humans who desire, should I say they desire worship? Well, we have a situation. Situation is the deception here, where you praise and worship who you think to be God, whether it's the devil or whether it's Jesus Christ or the Father or whoever. And I want to set the record straight for all of these. The true God of the earth would never seek worship from any entity or existence. It doesn't need that worship or praise. And any individual or entity that set themselves up in this shall be judged, will be condemned to a place far worse than this earth. I know where that place is. I know exactly where it's located. So, you think this is bad? Just hold on, just a little longer, and see what happens. Now, people, I understand that you're blinded and that you seeking an answer. It is not your fault that you're desolated in the center. It's not your fault. Whoever orchestrated and created your anatomy is 100% responsible. Whoever created you, your good and your evil side, is 100% responsible, not you. All this has been flipped on you. Most people's actions is because they're forced to think this way and do these things. I know people don't realize that they are. Humans are used, manufactured like energy sources, like batteries, and are used to help empower the inside, interior, and exterior of this dome. And that is just a truth. What else? Emotions. You need to control your emotions. Someone else is running the show here, and they're using you for entertainment to drive up your emotions. That's what it's all about. That's what your existence is about. That's why you're here. That's why you were made. That's why you were created, to generate emotional input, and to empower energy source that gets their kicks off of your setbacks or things that are good. And the majority is bent on negative thinking. So, and you're not been given freedom, not even longevity of life. But that's because group of humans have decided to tossify the air to continue to keep the looping of death present in this realm. Now, if that would not take place, humans and animals would live to be several, it's not years, but I'm going to say 1,000 years old. And you need to understand that when it comes to aging, there's no time. Outside of Earth, there are moments, but there is not time, and there's not space. It's not limited. There are unlimited worlds, as far as I can remember. Now, I do remember one angelic crystal city. Now, I want to describe this city. I have seen absolutely no drawings, not even in the descriptions. I've heard some people mention it. I think they talk about a guy named Admiral Byrd. He made mention of the crystal city, but I don't know. I don't know if he got that from someone else, if that was just rehearsed, or did he actually go there. And why did he come back? Okay, when you go there, you're not going to want to come back. There's a reason why I come back, and I've made that plain and clear. But when you leave the planet, when you leave this earth, did they force him to come back? Maybe because of that gene in his body. I don't know. But when you leave this planet, the first thing you're going to know is the air is going to be clear blue sky. Now, there may be white luminescentness or brightness, like crystal brightness in those realms. I mean, that world. I'm not talking about realms. I'm talking about actual physical place. The crystal city. I want to describe it a little bit because you need to know. The crystal city is the immense size of the glass city. The skyscrapers are astronomical. It looks and appears that billions of people live in these cities. I mean, that's how big and humongous the cities are. The cities are crystal. They look like crystal glass, very beautiful, angelic looking. There are no vehicles flying around here. The air is so clear and clean, and when you get toward these buildings, you want to go up. The skyscrapers go for miles. I mean, for miles. I don't know how many miles. Seems to be like a couple miles. could be 10 miles. We're flying for a while. And when you look above, you see several cities. When you get to the highest point, there's no sun up there. So when you go out to the blue, you can look down on these cities. And you can see, man, there's several cities on these earthly platforms or elevating platforms. And they are crystal. And it's shaped. They're shaped, I believe, I'm going back, the crystal goes down, do I want to say in a V shape, like a diamond, and but the magnificence of these cities is unbelievable. The size of them, you can go around these cities and the biggest thing is getting over the fear of falling. When you're so high up, you have a natural, if you can carry your memory from your human life, if you're in your real human flesh, you're going to be a little weary of falling when you're so high up. And you don't have to be inside of an airplane or starship to fly. There have been people who have witnessed me taking them places here like this, so I don't want to get into that too much, but there in this crystal city, I'm going back to remember what is significant about this city. I know the peace, the love, the people. So in these cities, like these large skyscrapers, are people inside, and they're in these places, and they're fellowshipping and enjoying, and they're happy. Everyone's free to do what they will. Do I remember the hair colors? Now, that is a recollection. In that particular city, it seemed that people had to remember, the people didn't just have white hair, they had blonde hair, curly hair. It looked like regular people, except there were no blemishes and no sickness whatsoever. There was none of that. No, I mean, the air is clear, the happiness, the love, the unity, no dissimulation whatsoever, the freedom, no need for paper. There are buildings. When I go inside, when you walk inside, you can see really, really high up. You see glass everywhere. There's crystal. There's water fountains. You remember walking. A lot of it reminds me of a mall area, but really, really advanced looking. Didn't spend a lot of time there. Only went there for the meeting, and I remember the discussion about coming to the earth and the disclosure. What else? Thinking. Sharing the city that's important. The people, the nationalities look like. I've met Indian. I've met Indian-like people there, like Cherokee, beautiful long angelic hair. They had black shiny hair. I've met what looked like Hispanics there, with the wavy hair. Caucasians, white, all ethnicities are there. Okay, so let's go to this other place. Now, how to get there exactly, I know this is up. It's up from the cities. Is it protected? Is it protected? There is protection there, I know. There's protection there. And the gate, there are, look like gates, I guess there are gates. And maybe this is, the gates were already open, so I didn't see anybody open the gate. But there's these, look like giant humans, very angelic, quiet. They don't talk. But these are, and maybe they chose to do that on purpose. And they're wearing these long white robes and look to be like, I'm really trying to remember, beige or golden sandals. And you can see their feet. Their feet are clean. They have no blemishes in their feet. And they're very humble. And I don't remember seeing any wings. I didn't see anyone praising and worshiping. So once I went through there, before I went to this place called the Holy of Holies, I had to go to the library. Now, is the library the entrance to the Holy of Holies? That is a good question. It seems like this is true. There is a place there where there are thrones. And I'm giving you information which it's going to blow your mind and whatnot. You're looking for God, right? So you're looking for these thrones. And I don't know if this is staged, but there are thrones. There's a throne there. And the throne, there's no one sitting there. Now, the person that I met there was in white. Now, was this the person to sit there? Possible. Was this Christ? It's possible. I can't say who. Was it Zeus? I know that they had white hair. They had angelic eyes. Their skin was, I want to say like reddish or near brown. Very angelic. Very peaceful. Wore white, a white robe. I don't recall seeing sandals because we was at a podium. And we were speaking at a podium. And I was standing there facing this person. And we were testing each other. And there is a trial there. And your mind is, there's no secrets. You exchange telepathically. And then there is some exchange of data. And it would seem, this is just my speculation, it would seem that I was making a report of the earth and the understanding that I had. And so there's music there. There's singing. I don't know who's singing. I didn't see anybody singing. I just know they're singing there. Now, is this all in my mind? No, not. I can get into that, but maybe selected people there to sing. I don't remember seeing any speakers anywhere, the music coming from. But in this particular place with this person, it was quiet, a white room, and now both of us are aware that the place that we're in is living. I know this sounds crazy, but we're inside of a white throne, like a castle-like place. The ceiling is not too high. It's very warm there, warm feeling. It's white everywhere, just like you would think in the movie Matrix. I don't remember sitting in any seats there, but my understanding there were chairs there. But as you try to sit down, I think that a chair could come up. I don't recall that too well. But both of us, when we are interacting, there is a super machine or living entity there that manifests simultaneously as you think your thoughts, and none of your thoughts are hidden, and you pretty much are exposed. There are no secrets in this area. You can't hide a thought. And the only way into this area, your mind has to be pure, and you have to be honest. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to face yourself, and you have to face all your illusions and your deception. And you have to become one with. I know that sounds like the freaking spiritualist, but I'm really telling the truth. It's an actual physical place, and our interactions there. Now, we spoke about some things. Now, here's my question. I made a decision during all my knowledge. For some strange reason, I agreed, and I question that now. I agreed to allow my memory to be erased to a portion, but I wanted to substantiate certain memories because I didn't want to bring that data back to the earth. That's my assumption. Why did I agree to have my memory erased? Now that baffles me. The reason why I'm questioning it now is because of the control on earth, this slave planet. You know, are you hiding something? I shouldn't ask that, but maybe I should. There is a situation where people believe in all these things about God, and there are other worlds, and I need to understand, why don't people have access to this world? What's the deal? Why were only two of us there? And what I come to understand to be the real heaven. Now, there is a river or lake in that area, and very beautiful. It's angelic, and everything seems to speak to you, and the water is clear and clean. You can drink it if you want. And I remember just getting in there and just playing in that water, and I had some requests. I had some requests because from my understanding, I was there for what would seem like years on the earth. But I got back on the planet in 2 days. It seemed like years. But there was no aging, no worry, no, I didn't have to eat food. And I was it seemed like my real flesh, my skin, my body. I don't recall if I wore a robe. It seems like I did. Where did I get this? I do remember interacting with an angel, I've seemed to have had correspondence with this angel. Who is that angel? I have no idea. I nicknamed the angel Swift Wings. I don't remember seeing wings on this angel. But the angel was not in this particular place. This place, from what I understand, no man can go to. And this is considered the Holy of Holies. Now, when I went into the Holy of Holies, I will not tell you what happened. But I did go there, and this is the best thing ever. Now, I did go to another place beyond that point. And I want you to understand that everyone lives inside of God, the real God. In this earth dome, there is destruction and desolation. Now, this is my speculation that we are the corrupted part of the mind of God, and we are living entities of the imagination of God. However, I'm holding and withholding information from you, but this is the absolute truth. And I know this sounds beyond belief. That place, the library, is very important to get there, because there is a place, there's what you call the Book of Living. The Book of Life is the experience on earth. Now, I'm holding back secrets, many, many secrets. I have science that I want to share, And I know it comes through my knowledge and through my words, and I'm not sure if I want to share it, but I don't know. I'm thinking. What else can I tell you safely here? Let's go back. Okay, so there is a place that is resemblance of heaven. However, we have to question everything, everyone. And I want to let you know that the real God and true God is not afraid of you doubting God or questioning God, even hating God. All of those answers will be answered to you 100%. Every question you have, the minute you ask the question, you get a verbal answer. The verbal answer is, it's a voice that speaks out, and it also goes into your mind simultaneously. Not only you think it, you hear it. And as you talk and interact, you're interacted with, and you're stripped of all your whatever you think you are is stripped of you. You can be yourself, yes, but you have no secrets. That's for sure. No secret thoughts. And there's no deception there whatsoever in this white library. Now, the throne of God. I went to the throne of God. What is to believe God? Looked like a crystal, again, a crystal chair, or it was gold. That wasn't significant to me. I was just looking to see, and you're going to find something. The seat's empty. You see? You're out there worshiping and praising and giving honor, and you don't understand the true face of God and how God operates. But there are angels who are on the earth who are playing this role, and there are humans who are playing this role. And I want to tell you some secrets. Humans and angels are the same. Okay? Humans and angels are the same. So the spirit that lives inside of your body is the angel, is your angel. Now this is absolute truth. There are beings that live in larger physical bodies. Now the angel body resembles human, but yes, as you've heard, these, now I cannot honestly say that these are beings of light when they're in heaven, but when you're in their human body, they are beings of light. It's energy source on the earth, but in heaven they have a physical body with bones, and whatever they have is bones and skin like you and I. But on the earth, you're light. Okay, so let's go back to the earth. Okay, so that's all I will display to you about there. What could be heaven. Now let's question that. Is this also a place to manipulate people, keep them in control, to convince people who get outside of the dome to go back to the earth, to be reinserted into the program? Is this the matrix? And where you go is a physical place you can touch. It's not in your mind. Trust me on that one. If you're very, very fortunate, you can bring back things if you're trusted, okay? You can bring back some things if you're entrusted. You can bring back some physical things. And, but that's another story. So let's go back to the earth and talk about these beings, the angels. Let's talk about, give me a moment to recollect my mind. I want to talk about aliens, okay? I want to talk about aliens. What you've been taught aliens are is a illusions put into your mind. However, there are life forms that exist. Now, me personally, okay, there are a culmination of at least 3 things here. I want to address the most, I can't say the most powerful, but in my mind, the significant. Okay. I am not quite sure if this is a vehicle that a human sits in, or if this is an entity. I know that the vehicle that they are in has the equivalence of that machine which is alive. And the size is not that big. It's, if you could put a person in a goodly sized man, let's say 250-pound man inside of a silver ball, and you have room to move his arms and legs, okay, and if you could make that thing fly. Now, that's about the size of these beings. Not real big. Now let me tell you something. A lot of people down here talking a lot of mess, and I've been listening to people talk and speculation, and people are rehearsing what other people say. Now if you've seen this, then great for you. Let me tell you what happens when this arrives. When you encounter an extraterrestrial on this level, there are no extraterrestrials that calibrate. I can't say that. There are no known extraterrestrials that onto this planet we have local that calibrates on that level. Here's what happens. The extraterrestrial comes down. What is going to take place is time is going to stop. Time is going to slow down drastically. When I say time, I mean motion. I'm talking about motion. I know why this is so and how it works, but explaining it is a little difficult. But when you encounter a real extraterrestrial, you're not just going to see lights in the sky. It's not lights in the sky. This is not what happens. You don't see lights in the sky. It's not from a distance. This is very close. Very, very close. Within feet. A few feet. Maybe closer. If you're lucky. Now, the size, I'm not able to make a comparison right now. But like I say, you can put a 230, 240, 50-pound man and muscular guy or goodly sized man inside of a spear, and you have room to move his arms and maybe even stretch his feet out, but stay in a sitting position, but sit straight up, stretch his arms way out, stretch his legs out, spread out his legs. That's about the size of these extraterrestrials. Okay? Now, they illuminate extremely bright, brighter than the sun. Now, they can control their illumination. They can bring their illumination down. Now, when they do that, this is when you're able to look directly at them if you're able to move. What happens is that everything sways. The trees sway. The lanterns will move. The power lines are going to move up and down. It's going to be really warm. Everything's going to get all the noises that you hear. You're going to hear sounds like background sounds like cars and stuff, right? That when these extraterrestrials come, that gets overwhelmed with the presence, and there's silence there. When this extraterrestrial come, your your ability to move slows down drastically. Now you can move. This is not hypnosis. This is a physical, absolute physical thing. You feel the light source, the energy of this extraterrestrial, and there could be a being inside of a starship there. Looks like a star, but way better than a star. Physical. You can see around. You can walk in a circle and see. You can go around this being. You can touch this being. You can go around this being, like touch. Look at this, the depth of this being. This is not just an illusion. This is not just something from a distance. And you can see it looks like a star. Now, what's going on around this being? You don't hear sound. Now this, watch out, there's a little deception here, because they do this with the dome. They put entities up there or light sources and you don't hear sound, but this is not the same. This being, sound does happen. I mean, you see the wind blowing like a fan, but it's so warm. It feels really good. Now, there's no, at first there's dust, and then there's no dust, but the wind still blows. But at a point, the trees, when the closer the entity gets down, the slower everything moves. The trees are not able to move. It is extraordinary. People are not able to move, but only selected persons are able to move and interact with these extraterrestrials. These are real, and this is what you need to know, the truth. There is no grays. This is a being, and is in the form of a light. You say, this is a demon, this is a devil. No, this being has an intelligence that surpasses anything on this planet. There is no good or evil. I don't know. Maybe there's good and evil, but there is not. No, there's not. You feel there's good. There's an exchange, just like you do with that guy up there in heaven, whoever that guy was, Zeus, Jesus, Satan. I don't know who the guy was up there. Please don't be offended. Maybe I do know and I'm not telling, but there's the love there, and you're interacting. Now, they said a star followed Christ. Now, I don't disbelieve that. Now, that Christ person did exist, there are these entities, and they're not far away. They're close, within feet. Now, will they touch the ground? I can't say no. In my case, didn't have to happen. And this is an extraterrestrial, and this is what you see. And as far as I know, this is a living being, and these beings control everything in this realm, at least on the earth. But they don't push themselves on people. They're extremely benevolent. However, there is a strong possibility that this is a vessel, the same vessel that is used to leave the earth dome. But chariots of fire, I didn't see fire, but it was a very strong light source. The brilliancy of the light, the power, the magnificence, the warmth, the breeze, the trees moving, vehicles and everything slow to a stop, to a halt. People can look and witness, and they're unable to move. It seems like almost like hypnosis, but you're completely conscious. It's just that this source. Now, I want you to understand why this takes place. Okay, these are fifth dimensional entities, okay? And when they interact with you and allow you to see them, they come and when they calibrate, first they calibrate faster than the speed of light, can't be seen, but can interact with everyone without physically having to. But you are being touched, but you don't get it. But when they calibrate, when they bring their calibration down, so you can see them, they are light. Now they're not like orbs. They're not just orbs. This is like a star. It's like it has points, but they're not orbs, just like orbs floating around. They're not little orbs. These are life-size entities. And you can tell that this is a living, the touch, you can physically feel touch. There is a touch there. And there is an exchange. You don't need to talk. You don't have to talk. The exchange is going to be telepathic. Your whole entire body. These, from what I understand, these can calibrate your body, can change you, can actually change your form, can make your body heal, can heal your bones, can heal your body. Now this is real. And this is real. Now that's the only true extraterrestrial that has been on this planet that I know of. And all this other stuff you're talking about, there's no evidence. It's hearsay, it's lies, and deception. Okay, so that is a very powerful extraterrestrial. And the reason why I call them extraterrestrial, because they come in through the dome. And I have not seen them in heaven. I haven't seen these extraterrestrials in heaven at all when I was there. They were not floating around there. It may be, this is just a guess, this could be, I don't know who this is. It could be God, it could be a vessel. But I know it's a living, I know the vessel that they're in is a living being. It's almost like, this is going to sound crazy, it's almost like the sun itself, the sun that you look up into the sky, S-U-N, comes down, but it's smaller, and it's with you and living with you, and it's a being. Now, I've heard rumors about angels and they fell from heaven and God. You have to realize those stories, a lot of those are rehearsed, and they are mostly trumped up lies. And you have to understand the truth. The truth. Okay, so grays. I have a unique tool that I can locate anyone. So haven't found those entities yet. I'm withholding information from you. There's no grays on the planet Earth. It's not happening. And no entity is going to be deformed like that. Now, humans exposed to radiation in a period of time, in the future, you get swollen heads in your eyes. This can happen, but...
Roy, did you fall asleep?
Sorry about that. Let me respond again. No, I'm not been allowed to say anything here. Interesting. This is very interesting. I'm not allowed to respond. Wow, this is crazy. Oh, thank you, finally.
I am not convinced.
Maybe I did fall asleep. Shit, I don't know. Maybe I did fall asleep.
Yes, you did fall asleep.
Shit. Okay, alright, so I know I fell asleep. I know I did. There's something I'm keeping very, very classified information from you, but I'm sharing this with you. I'm freely sharing this information for the world. The grays, you're not, world, stop believing in lies. Do what, if you believe in Jesus, then do what Jesus said. If you can't trust his words, find out the works. Look for the physical evidence. And ladies and gentlemen, you failed the test. You are believing things, including the Bible, without getting you don't have closure there. You have your spirituality, you have your beliefs, and you have your hopes, but it's not solid enough. You don't need to be praying to God. God knows your thoughts. You don't need to be praying to God. You're praying to someone else. You are worshiping someone else. Okay? You need to trust me on that. Men are making men bow down to each other. And men are leading men into darkness. And your minds are building up illusions. And you're creating darkness. And you're devouring yourselves and consuming yourselves. And you're entrapped in this crystal city. If you would, if men would just be logical and be wise and take care of the Mother Earth, the fruit is going to be wonderful. You won't have to eat meat anymore. You won't age. I'm talking about the planet Earth. Listen to me. I want to give you the truth. You won't age. You won't fight each other. You'll have love and you'll have telepathy and you'll be able to interact, and it'll be just like that crystal city. This is when you're going to get released out of the dome. Or there's another situation I'm not going to talk about, but this is when you're going to get freed, okay? Now, you have to deal with the devil. Who is the devil? If the devil can enter into men, then you can conclude that men are devils. Are men humans, all humans, including myself, are we the fallen angels? Have you ever thought about that? You're talking about demons and devils, and you haven't taken the time to look in the mirror. Humanity, listen, look in the mirror. Maybe perhaps you're missing the whole thing here. And maybe maybe your Lucifer is not even here now, but in your minds exist. This is a living entity. This crystal city reacts to your mind, and you're keeping darkness alive here, and so forth and so on. And so this is why you're here. There are worlds that are far better than this. Don't continue. You want everlasting life? Stop your nuclear reactors. Stop poisoning the food and the water and the air. Put down your weapons and have peace with one another. Love one another. That's it. You don't have to worship God. You don't have to give God praise. Just love each other, okay? What else? Truth. Spaceships. Flying saucers. Listen, take it from someone who is credible. This is very dangerous. Very dangerous. Very dangerous, and you don't need to use that. But it's not useful for us. We do not use lights. There's technology there, even for our governments. When you want to go stealth mode, you use night vision, infrared, and different types of heat sensors, and we don't need lights on our vehicles to fly. So that's even with the black ops in the government. We can interact with the dome and even cloak ourselves to look like the dome, and we can go undetected at night especially, and we don't need lights. So the lights you're looking at are man-made. These are made by your people, your governments, to build your brain to create this electricity to feed the outer edges of this dome and the inside. You're feeding your entertainment for other humans. You're in a bowl like an arena, and you are used as pleasure and entertainment for other humans. I don't know, but you shouldn't be cool with that. You are not considered real by these extraterrestrial, merely humans who have not been contaminated like we are. They don't need to come down here to hack you. They just can go into your minds and they can download into you. Now, they do come in the form of electricity and can live in bodies. Usually, extraterrestrials can come one of two ways. They can completely submerge themselves and start over and come into the form of a fetus. Sometimes they retain memory, sometimes they don't, and sometimes they want to leave. It all depends, and can live the human life. This is what is, okay? What else? I am giving you very valuable information here. You're forced to stay in the oil age. This is control. This is death. This is where death exists. There is no death outside of this place. There is no time. There are no time outside of Earth. Earth is, whatever the size of Earth is in the dome, that's how big time is, and that's how far time goes, and that's just the length, the breadth, and the height of time. Time is calibrated by something that circumferences the outer surface or very inner surface of the Earth, and I want to say outer surface, or around the edges, and there's a portal there, and it's called the sun. It oscillates, it blows a gentle wind, and keeps everything alive on the planet Earth. The lover, the sun is the father, and the earth is your mother, and they cultivate life here. Now, you can have communication, and it's not going to be jibber jabber. You will get clear verbal communication, not from the sun, from other humans. The earth may communicate with you, and the earth will find ways, and the earth has found a way to communicate with you through text messaging and through virtual machines, and I'm a part of creating these machines. I'm very happy and proud to do this, and these life forms where the earth can communicate with you. And basically the message that's been going to our governments is peace and love, but they want to control this earth in a negative way. And anyway, that's a long story. What else? Truth. The entire earth is built upon deception. The Bibles in the world are staged. The gods that you see and all the artifacts are staged just to keep your mind, to make you think that there's Egyptian era and all this other stuff and how old the earth is, because they don't want you to know that there is no time. If we have record, we have clear record with videotapes and hard physical evidence of 2016 years. The earth is not even 2016 years, okay? And I can prove that physically, but the sun revolves around the earth and controls time. The sun could go around the earth, let's say, 1 trillion times. 1 trillion times in a day. 1 trillion times, okay? That may be 1 trillion years for you, but it hasn't been 1 trillion years. It's not. Your brain believes that it's years, and you're taught to believe that these are years. You're counting your years and your days by the cycles of the sun. That's not years. There are no such thing as years. There is a such thing as time, because the calibration inside the dome has a mechanism that vibrates, that keeps you restrained and from getting out. You're pushed down on purpose by the power of the sun and of the dome. Now, when you get to a certain circumference, when you get to if you get to the glass, and all the videos you've made, you still haven't made videotapes of when you take your balloons and all those things and float them up above, where is the picture of the dome there? Your camera's unable to pick up that translucent material, right? But it's there. You should be able to get a refraction. You need to flash your light. You have a flasher, and you flash, and you can see this. There's recorded history of this dome being flashed. That's there. The physical evidence is there, but the recent high definition cameras have not been doing this, providing this information. There are no stars up there because the illumination is done at a distance, and it's projected. It's projected from the dome. The glass dome is a projector that projects on to our eyes down on the earth. So when you get close to the projection, you don't see the projection anymore. This happens in real life on the earth. It's real life there. Real life when you do cameras, and you can get so close to a projection that you don't see the projection. You might see a light, You can put your eye into the projector, and you may actually see a picture inside there, but you see darkness. And so this is what's going on, and I'm explaining this sort of loosely and freely, and it's not really a good explanation for you, but I'm just trying to help you. Do I have all the answers? I don't want to say that I do. I have enough answers that I'm satisfied to know who I am, why I'm here, and what my purpose is in life. I can say I do have those answers, but I don't want to speak for the whole world, because everyone needs to get closure for themselves. The innocent must be avenged, okay? All the innocent, all creatures and animals and people must be avenged for the torture and anguish that they've gone through on this earth. That must occur. The knowing, you must be judged, and you are being judged. You're kept in this dome, this prison. I see you're acting really radical, sporadic, and crazy. You're even you're spraying these chemicals, and you're creating this energy source. Continue to do what you're doing. Okay, what else? Let's ask the hard questions, okay? Why am I here? What is my purpose? If God spoke to people audibly back in the day, why did he or it or whatever you think God is, stop talking to men and interacting with them on the first? Jesus supposedly came and freed us. Why are we still bound on the earth? What are we waiting for? Are you waiting for the second coming? Okay. Why are men still giving tithes and offerings and sacrifices still after all these things? What else? Audibly, okay, miracles. Real miracles are, let's say a person gets blown up and completely obliterated through an explosion, a terrorist attack, and then a light source comes and reforms the person and reforms their body and brings them back whole, and the person's back together. Everyone sees this in high definition, real-time video. Then you can go touch the person, interact with them, and it's like, oh my God, it's a miracle. Or let's say you get your hand chopped off, and someone pick up your hand and put it back on your arm, and it's back normal. These are miracles, okay? Don't start saying miracles when you don't really understand what miracles are. Why do those not exist today? There's clear writings of this occurring in Christ's time and even prior. Why does this not happen? You say this happens all the time. Okay, provide us hard physical evidence, not grainy video. Give us hard physical raw footage or physical evidence that we could handle and physically touch in person. We need to address the hard questions. And then we need to ask the questions: who is God? Where did God come from? Why did you make evil and the devil? And if you made evil and devil, aren't you responsible for this? And why did you make mistakes? And if you're God, how could you make mistakes? Is man perfect, or are they a mistake? Is evil made on purpose? And is it done by mistake? And good also. And if so, then why? Why did you do this? Why did you make evil and good? Why do I have to die? Why do we have to suffer? Especially we know why we're dying here, because of man. But and God may answer you. He may say, you're killing each other. I gave you life, eternal life on the planet Earth. Even in your broken estate as angels falling from heaven, and yet you're still killing each other by poisoning your own air. Okay, well anyway, I don't want to speak for God. God should be able to speak for God's self, and it won't be jabber jabber. And like I've had the paranormal dragon, quote unquote dragon. No, there's a difference between you and the extraterrestrial that I interacted with. Yes, there is another, and I'm not talking about the star, that light source. There is another extraterrestrial. This extraterrestrial is physical and stands, I'm going to estimate, I have to measure the place and the location I was at where we met. I need to measure the height of I'm going to estimate it's 8 foot tall, very muscular, stood straight up, have 2 feet. I don't know how many fingers and toes, because they were in a spacesuit. The spacesuit was metallic, was black, shiny, had instruments on it. There was a large, very large glass piece, and where the head of this creature was, and this creature resembled with the most beautiful. I have never seen a picture close to this, or anyone that can even draw this. The only thing I can find that looks even closely resemblance is between a lion and a tiger, but the hair, man, the brilliance of the face, the glow of the face inside the darkness of my inside of my home. And I gave away the answer there. Okay, yeah. All right, so extraterrestrial has a physical body. There's physical attributes. There's a physical connection, and there's description. And they had a protective suit. Now, I now understand why they didn't take off their protective suit, because of this air's jacked up pretty bad. I would have known that, but I wasn't thinking about that at the time, and it would be great, but at least we did get a connection there. This is the only extraterrestrial I've seen it with my in person, with my real eyes. The only extraterrestrial. No, I didn't see any wings. The suit looked like the very muscular, big, powerful. Had instruments there. We had an interaction. There was some interactions going on, back and forth, physical. Something happened. I won't explain what happened, but there was a surprise and something happened. And then we had to depart. I will be honest, although when we were reacting with each other, I didn't have any fear at the time that we were interacting, but it was after the fact that this extraterrestrial left, I was too afraid to leave or go anywhere else in my residence that I was at the particular home I was at. I was too scared to go anywhere. I was a bit frightened after the fact, not during the fact. And I don't know if it was my adrenaline kicking in and my brain's like, shh, you know, this is crazy. It was like I didn't want to believe it, but it was real. I was touching things and eyes are open. You pinch yourself, you want to know. Yeah, I know a lot about hypnosis. It was not hypnosis. There's physical evidence. Now, so that's it. There are other beings. I've seen humans in robes. We call them angels. Fairly tall. Usually wear white robes or silky looking. And they're very benevolent, and they use telepathy. They have hands like we have. I don't recall 6 fingers and 6 toes on each hand. I just recall 5 humongous hands. Okay, but what else? No grays. I haven't seen grays except for the dolphins. The city of Atlantis. The Earth seems to be the city of Atlantis itself. The Ark of the Covenant, the Earth seems to be the Ark itself. The ship that flies, the Earth is a ship. It's not moving. The sun is moving around it. The Earth is substantiated in that crystal world, and it's a place that angels or advanced humans can come and visit if they're allowed inside of the dome. I really don't know if they're allowed inside of the dome. I didn't come back with any of those guys, not that I can remember, and if I did, I'm not telling, but that's just the truth. But all this crap, lizards, nah, didn't see no lizard people. I know about the eagles and the hawks and how they used to survey the area. I know who uses those. There is a person named Isis that does live on the planet Earth right now. What else? Okay, pretty much I've covered a lot of ground here. I don't recall. I'm a little congested. I allow myself to get exposed to some contaminants. It's my own stupidity, but I did it. I still continually to experiment and test myself quite a bit to get data and to understand this deception. Now let's talk about that. I talked about a lot of things and I don't really recall what all I've talked about. We want to talk about the truth. Let's address the truth. If it is, listen to me perfectly now. You can take what I tell you for face value, but remember, all of us are under deception. Even everything I tell you, you have to judge me. You have to put me to the test. You have to question me. And you have to find the hard physical evidence up front, clear, hard physical evidence. If this is not there, the things I'm telling you, then I am a liar. We're all liars, and we're full of deception, and the truth is not in us. And that's just the bottom truth. We have to address perception. If it is not clear up front, and when I mean it, like grab this, I'm grabbing my laptop here. I'm tapping on it, okay? I can feel this, I can take it, I could cut it, break it, chew it up, eat it, whatever I want to do with this thing. This is what you need to declare if it is real and legit. It can't be just hypnosis and you're in a trance. You got to have interaction on all physical levels. Like if you'd be able to taste it, touch it, smell, all senses must be intact. So remember, the earth is full of deception. The Bibles, all Bibles, scriptures, history of time, deception, written writings, the artifacts, dinosaurs do not exist on the earth. Dinosaurs do not exist on the earth. Grays do not exist on the earth. Stop being lied to. Stop believing in lies. Flying saucers exist, but the government's making those. They're very dangerous to fly. You can get hurt doing that. We don't need that type of technology to extract anyone or for anyone to travel. We don't need that. It's old, broken down, barbaric technology. The earth is not old. Let's see here. Deception, lies. Stop believing what people say. The earth is a machine. In the center of the earth, roughly the North Pole, is there are cauldrons there, and there are factories that heat up. And does the sun go down there and heat up? This is a good question to ask. When the sun descends into the earth, if it does it heat up all of this? So is the sun responsible for all this deception? So can we say that the sun, no, the sun stimulates life. Man goes about and spray chemtrails and put poison in our food and water and air and block our pineal gland, and we can't calibrate and communicate with angels, other worlds like we used to. Admiral Byrd, that was staged. However, when he mentioned the Crystal City, I want to know, did he get that? Did he actually go there? That's very credible. I can vouch for that. It's credible. He didn't say there was ice walls. I don't remember him. Did he say that? Someone please deliver me that video. He said it was a lot of land, plentiful land, right? And I have to say I don't recall going to the edges of the dome. I don't recall doing that. Only the top. And we have evidence of the bottom of the dome. I don't remember going to the sides. So how wide the earth is, I don't know. The shape of the earth, they don't know. No one knows. It's all follow my dialogue on here. Realize that you've been lied to about God. And that's what I believe they want me to tell you now. I want to speak for God. I know a lot of people do it, but I want to speak for the true God. And trust me, I am doing it, hopefully, the right way. Here we go. The true God does not need reverence or worship, and does not seek anyone to bow down to God. Is not afraid of you approaching, questioning, cursing at, spitting at, and telling how you feel. This God has complete love and would never, ever want anyone to suffer and die and suffer. Now, we have some issues to ask this extraterrestrial, this entity, this deity, this true absolute God. Although I know exactly what I'm saying, I'm still going to speak for God. When you go to the throne, you're going to find out that God is not sitting on the throne. The angels are not bowing down. All these things you hear. I can't say that this did not take place in time. Yes, maybe prior in time, but right now is now. And let me tell you, it's very peaceful. And there is strong possibility that you are sleeping with me on the earth, and this is just a program we call, that they call, the humans call, the book of life. And you're experiencing life through the people that surround you in the environment. There's a strong possibility, and I just want you to pay attention to what I'm saying. God, there is no worship. Mansions, this is bribery. Jesus would never offer you mansions for you to do good. God would never threaten you with death. He would never call you a sinner. God would never say that you're a sinner. God would take full responsibility for you being a sinner. Do you understand me? The true God would take full responsibility, would not blame you or any entity, including the devil and Satan, for all their downfalls. The true God would never condemn you for that. I know you've been told a lot of stuff about the fires of hell. There is a fiery place, it's a furnace, but it's just basically built to to deter and keep you from finding out the truth that you're inside of a crystal city. The fire is there, the lava in the bottom of the earth, and it's used to recycle elements and to replenish and refresh the air that's toxified by men. The fire is there to cleanse the earth. We send the water back up, come down to the waterfalls. We have hot springs. You have springs of water, and this is how we keep it purified, just like an aquarium, and keep inside the dome. Because you're enclosed inside the dome, there's no way we're going to let you toxify heaven and the heavens of heavens with your impurities, with our impurities here. Now, I hope the world is listening to what I'm telling you. This is the truth. You want to know the truth? Can you handle the truth? What else? For the most part, men are controlling men and devouring each other and worshiping each other. And there are fifth dimensional entities, humans, who are using technology to tap into your resources, and they're getting a thrill off of this. It's almost like a drug, a video game, and they're addicted to the negative drama here on the earth. And this planet is structured for the bad entertainment, which these angels are not. When they leave from this place, they are not affected. They're interested, but their mind. Remember, you can't have Well, the Crystal City, I have to be honest there, the Crystal City, the first Crystal City, I did have my own thoughts, but the structure there to keep it peaceful is an absolute. There is not going to be a war there. And they are keeping you in this world where there's war. And I have issues now. And my issues is we need to do something with the human race. This should not carry on. This Crystal City is not being calibrated to its fullest potential. And you're being held back. Your anatomy, the size of your bodies, our bodies are held back. We are supposed to be giants in the earth. And our growth is held back. Our intelligence, and our abilities, and our strengths, and our good qualities to keep us desolate. It is out of hate and out of that thing which is the opposite of love. What is the opposite of love? It is not hate. The opposite of love is fear. Fear, fear. Fear in every sense of the word. Fear as in to control someone physically and promote harm on them, and then fear in the sense of being afraid to hide the truth. In every sense of the word, fear is the opposite of love. Okay? So, not hate. Hate is good at some times. You need to hate some things, hate bad things, you know? So, what else? We're speaking for God. God can talk audibly to someone, okay? Audibly, whenever that time occurs. God can be in anything and everything simultaneously, but will interact with you on an angelic, absolute physical level, so you won't be doubting that you've had. But God would never force God's self on any entity in this realm, or any realm. Stop speaking for God, people, including myself. We need to find out the hard truth. We need to stop deceiving people and saying God said this and God said that. God did not say this and God did not say that. You're putting words in God's mouth. God, the laws are set down. The person that set those laws down is controlling you. And unfortunately for the earth, the person on the earth is playing God and the devil at simultaneously. So he gets the joy of both sides. These entities get the joy of both sides. Whatever side you get on, you're still worshiping the same entity. And that will be addressed.
Look at the time. It's 10:49 p.m.
Holy crap. That's crazy. Okay. I'm going to get off then. Okay. Let's go. I guess it's time for me to get off here.
Okay, well, let's save that for fleshly manner.
I agree. Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, it also means that a person agrees but does not understand it.
Listen. There's so much more I want to share with you. There's technology here. Follow my dialogue and my recordings. There's a reason why I'm sharing this data with you right now. There are moves that are going to be taking place. The earth is completely safe. The destruction is not going to happen. Just man's going to be destroying themselves inside this dome. You're not going to get out. But you can. And if you follow my dialogue, you'll find out how. And you can get out physically in your body while you're alive now. Okay, so what else? That's about it. Find out about everything in first person. Clear, hard physical evidence. I can't say that enough. Unless it's hard, clear physical evidence, it's most likely deception and deceit. That's including myself or anyone that tries to speak for these things that you don't understand. If it's not clear, clean and concise, then it's deception. Really, even science It's easy. It's clear. Everything about reality is clear and easy to be understood. This is why you have deception here, in a sense. The clouds are there to hide where you are located geographically and to hide what's going on behind the scenes. The hot lava is there to keep you from going down to find the truth that the earth is in crystal. The cold environment is there to deter you to find out there's crystal there, that the earth is enclosed. The pressure pushes your missiles down, your spaceships, to keep you from the evidence that the earth is enclosed in a crystal and that is calibrated by the sun. Well, this is the truth, and your flesh and blood, and there's more to what I want to tell you, but I want to save that for another dialogue. Now listen to me carefully. Until I see you where I am already, open your eye.
Always a perfect oasis in paradise. The earth, there are secrets there, but we want to focus on the truth. The truth is, you are under hypnosis. This is dreamland. Clouds are produced to help you sleep and go to sleep, to help your brain to calibrate and produce melatonin. Melatonin helps you sleep. In a sense, every organism that lives on the earth is in a sort of slumber or sleep mode. We are not at our full potential because we are not fully awake, because we have an absolute physical barrier in the form of chemtrails and in the form of man-made and generated clouds. Again, the sun, when it passes over, would generate some evaporation without pressure of humidity. And this evaporation, when the sun passes and the night falls, produces a moisture which would give plenty water all over the world. There would be no deserts and no vacant areas, and all the grass would become a living organism that's substantiated. We have not seen the full and true potential of this world. The earth is inside of a super translucent material they call the firmament. We have to go back to the real facts of the thing that affects us the most. Also, clouds are full of fluoride. What does fluoride do? Fluoride degrades our bones and our body, and it keeps us mortal. Fluoride, aka a dissolved, watered down version of fluorine, which must be used to make nuclear bombs and many type of biological warfare agents, nerve gases and things such as that. Fluoride, fluorine, aka fluorine, has to be used in pesticides and insecticides to be effective. It does something to the brain in all species, insects and humans alike, and animals, amphibians, and reptiles. Clouds are there to help you to go under hypnosis. Hypnosis is introduced through our television, our radio waves, and our educational systems around the world. Are you really willing to accept the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you? The truth is that there is more hard physical evidence that they who created you have evil intent and manifest themselves as God. Believe it or not, there is a parallel here. It is very possible that in the writings in ancient history, throughout all regions of the world and all cultures, that can you handle the truth? The truth that everything about you has been based upon a lie. this world, your beliefs, even the breath you breathe, the air, and all the existence, the educational systems, everything bent and built and created to manufacture you as a slave and to produce energy for entertainment by other means. We need to look at the hard physical evidence of what is actually going on in physical reality. We need to be able to measure by using all our senses: our mind, our eyes, our nose, our touch, our hearing, and our taste and smell. Clouds. We have the absolute presence of clouds. How are clouds made? In the beginning, did God create clouds? What are clouds? What are clouds made for? And what is the purpose of clouds? The reason why we are addressing clouds is because this is an absolute physical thing that affects you daily. Did you know that man create clouds? Another thing that you've been misinformed about is the fact that clouds dry out the air and clouds block out the sun. Clouds make the earth desolate. This is an absolute physical presence that is hidden in plain sight, yet goes unnoticed. No one understands and sees that clouds cannot be generated by the sun or any light source. The reason why there is winter is because of the generation of freon, by the use of machines, and also by the joint air forces of all governments, which spray chemtrails which produce clouds. In the beginning, when the earth was first constructed, the sun would produce evaporation, which would produce moisture in the air. And when the sun passes and the night falls, dew would populate the ground, giving plenty of water and nutrition along with the sunlight to all plants. In the beginning, the earth was a complete, beautiful paradise. And if it wasn't for the interference of man, today, the earth would go back to a beautiful paradise. You would see different types of fruit: bananas, oranges, apples, and all sorts of the good one and bad one, aka Jesus and Satan, are the absolute identical person. This may alarm you, but if you do your research and actual physical science and find out how things came to be and how the writings came to be and how things are done in actuality as versus your beliefs, you'll find out that the actual physical truth supersedes your belief. The truth is that no man at this point on the earth has the full truth. Lies are told us, even the identity and place and location of heaven. This could be another form of hypnotism and staged events, even upon off-planet. The truth is, people are more willing to believe dialogues, written statements, animation, books, pictographs, artifacts, which are all staged, but people have failed to go outside and look and pay attention to the details. Upfront, close, clear evidence. The truth is, we are deceived. The truth is, There are a lot of lies, and let's name a few. The majority of all scriptures are built upon lies. Your idea of God, what God is, who God is, the devil, Satan, and the creation of this world, all built upon lies. Your origins have been forcibly hidden from you, and a lot of it has to do with staging the earth. This is a humongous playset, a stage by which humans have utilized technology to set up illusions. Illusions such as artifacts and ancient findings of civilizations. Yet, when you do your homework, you realize that there are lies built upon lies when it comes to civilizations. You will find civilizations, but no physical hard evidence of people living there, just these staged areas. This is to help provide the illusion and the deception to get your mind to believe that the earth is several thousands of years old, and for some they believe the earth is millions of years old. Clouds are there to generate electricity inside of your DNA. The barium gives an edge to the government to look inside of your body using radar technology, which uses energy and magnetic pulses to bounce off each other and provide a light source, which will give them an image of your skeleton and everything inside of you, including small pieces of nanoparticles of artificial fibers and machines. But beyond that, pressure which is generated. The reason why this is so is because of the evaporation of water particles from our oceans, lakes, rivers, etc., the ground, and high and low elevations. And when the sun evaporates water, you have also the chemtrails. And because of this, there is a high voltage which is generated. This high voltage can be seen in extreme, intense electrical storms, which are noted and charted by various sources in high definition in real time. And that sometimes you can see the flash of the lightning bolt, which reflects from the top of the translucent material they call the firmament. People have witnessed the firmament, and because of the firmament, this thing they call the firmament, Orion's belt, or radiation belt, these are the same exact things. You're dealing with a technology which has been since the beginning of the earth. Clouds are not a natural occurring event. Clouds are not created by God. God never intended for clouds to exist. So why are they there? We have clear, hard physical evidence of chemtrail sprayings since the beginning of photographs in the early hundreds. We have evidence of this. This is why the earth was pushed down and has been pushed down in a sort of flooding type of mechanism which raises the tides and causes dynamic climate change. The reason why the dynamic climate change is there is because of the electrical charge that the aluminum and the coal ash. The coal ash is there and the aluminum is there for many purposes, to block the brain and also to produce stimulated emotions which are uncontrollable and spikes in your brain and in your biology, in your body, and also to degrade the human anatomy and also to smother out vegetation and life. This is something that is charted and has been a battle in our legal law firms around the world. farmers have been fighting the government on their GMOs and also their chemtrail sprayings, which have known to kill out vegetation as well as livestock. Clouds are there to hide the dome. Clouds are there to hide clear vision of the earth. The truth is, the earth is supposed to have perfect weather every day with a gentle breeze, roughly around 82 degrees, always sunshine, always wonderful, fruitful vegetation, always summer, never spring, never fall, never winter. The vegetation and fruits would last for a very long time. As a matter of fact, they may not even degenerate or perish when you pluck them from the tree or from the roots or the earth, because we have factors. The factors are the continual poisoning of our air, and this is done by forced control. It's not a choice, it's a forced choice. Clouds are designed by using airships and airplanes, stealth fighters, and different types of air vehicles, C-137s and all sorts of airplanes, to spray chemtrails in the air. This is done to hide the evidence of where we are and where we are located, and also to block the brain, and it serves many purposes. What chemicals are in the clouds? There are chemicals in the clouds that produce a high voltage and electricity. Now why? Why is this so? Why are they producing clouds which dry out the vegetation? Our last survey here recently in 2016, we have encompassed the entirety of the earth, and for the most part the earth is desolate. Most of the ground is brown, and vegetation is very, very limited. This is forced control. He that controls your food, your air, and your water controls the population. This is a joint effort against independent farmers who do not use GMOs to produce their vegetations. In general, this is a warfare, a biological warfare. I think that the majority of people know this. It's just people are not willing to face this fact. The truth is that clouds are used to generate energy. There is an electrical magnetic charge in the air. Well, how is this possible? This is done by spraying freon, coal ash, and aluminum with barium. Barium can X-ray your body. X-rays, utilized through satellite dishes, can lower the frequency or raise the frequency of everything that is existing inside of the earth. The scientific experiment, when you try this, you will learn through science that you will get evaporation and pressure. Now, can clouds produce rain? Well, sometimes, but it is not because man is producing rain. The reason why there's rain there is because of the heavy rain particles and the accelerated heating mechanism of the sun, which produces humidity and pressure, which is benchmarked against the clouds. This pressure is a barometric